Hi everyone, welcome back to GameMaker Cast. It's Mickey, and in this video what I want to go over is how we can have our character pick up and swap weapons, as you can see here in front of us. This hopefully will be a short tutorial, but let's close our finished product and let's go into a GameMaker Studio project that we don't have anything in really. So we have the base information here where we have the character and the weapons. If I were to run this particular project, you can see that it kind of acts as the same. However, when I'm pressing the buttons, I can't pick up the object at all. So let's close it and get right into the coding. The very first thing I'm going to do is close everything that I have open, and I want to switch over to the character, as this is where the bulk of the work is going to be done. You can see we don't have much in the create event, but we need a couple different things. So how it's going to work is when the character walks over one of these objects, we can't use the collision event. So we could say, when you collide with a weapon, then pick it up. Now the reason we're not going to be doing it this way is because all of these weapons are going to have a mask, and by default GameMaker, we can't really get rid of that mask. I think the smallest we can have is a 1x1, so it's always going to detect that we are picking up a weapon. And there might be a time where we have a weapon in our hands and we want to pick up a weapon on the ground. So right away, the GameMaker won't really know which weapon we want to pick up because it's always going to collide with the first one, which will happen to be the weapon in our hands. So what we're going to do is create two variables in the create event of the character. So we're going to create a variable for what weapon we have. So we'll just say the weapon is equal to no one. And we also need a pickup radius. Now you may have seen this radius used multiple times in my videos. We're just going to basically cast a circle out within 50 pixels of our character, and anytime a certain object comes in that radius and we press a certain key, such as the key pickup, then what we're going to have happen is we're going to run some code, and in this particular project we're going to decide whether or not we can pick up the weapon. So to do this, let's go over to the step event, and you can see I've kind of minimized everything here. What we want to really focus on is the pickup weapons. So right here I have a keyboard check, and so that's if I'm pressing the E key, and then we want to do something. So what I want to do is, using that pickup radius, I want to cast out a circle to see what objects or what weapons are in that circle. Now we could use collision, let's see, collision circle. What I want to actually use is circle list, and the reason I want to use a circle list is because I want to get all of the objects that are pertaining to the weapons and not just the first one that we collide with. So we're going to be using this variable here. So we could check out the help and it will give us a very good example on what to do, but let's just write it out here. So I'll say pickup list is going to be a new DS list, so we need to create a list. Then we'll say VR pickup count is going to be the function that we just talked about here, which is the circle list, and I'm going to come over here and make this bigger. Now what we want to do is we want to have this circle go out from our X and Y position of our character, and then we're going to use that pickup radius, so pickup radius, which is 50 pixels, and I want to search for the object underscore weapon. Now you can see that I have a whole bunch of different ones in my list, but if I bring up the object weapon list, if I go down to children, you can see that all the weapons are just a child of this parent object here. So we only have to check for the object weapon, and it will know enough if we're picking up the AK, the M14, M4, M500, etc. So let's go back up here. So once we're checking for the object weapon, we do not need anything to be precise. And I'm going to fix my error that I see right here first. So we don't need anything precise. We can just rely on the collision mask. And we want to exclude ourselves, and we want to throw everything inside the pickup list. And finally, we want this list to be ordered. So it's going to bring back not only the first one, but it's going to bring back all of the ones within this radius, and they're going to be ordered in the distance that they were brought back into. So now what we can do is we could say if our pickup count is bigger than 0, or I guess we could say bigger than 1, but let's just say bigger than 0 for now. So if we are pressing our pickup key and we have something within this list, then we need to know, we'll just say first we need to know if we are holding onto a weapon. So what we can do is we can check the variable weapon that we created over here. If this does not equal no one, then we know that we're holding onto a weapon. So we can say if weapon equals no one. So right now we are not holding onto a weapon. So all we need to do is pick the first weapon in that list. So our weapon is going to equal the pickup list. And we want to access the first element. So we could just have an accessor, which is just the pipe, followed by the number 0. So this is going to assign whatever is first in this list, the ID, to that weapon itself. And we have a couple different variables that we need to create in our weapon. You can see we already have one called being carried, but let's also create one called target, and I'm going to set it to no one as well. And we will come back to this in just 1 second. I just don't want to have any errors. So in the player, once we set the weapon to whatever weapon is first, then we are going to say the weapon.target equals ID, which will be our object character. So we're just going to assign the target that it is going to follow, and then we're going to tell the weapon itself that it is being carried. And we will come back to this in 1 second. And actually, why don't we do this right now? But the only thing we have to do after this if statement, because we are working with a DS list, we have to make sure that we destroy that list, or we're going to run into memory leaks. So we'll say ds list destroy, not delete, but we want destroy, and let's pass in the pickup list. Now, if we go over to our object weapon, you can see that we have these two variables right here. We have the target, and then we also have is being carried. So what we want to do is, depending on where we are, let's see here, I think it's the begin step we're going to need. Or actually, the begin step we have being carried, the end step is going to be our actual target. So we could say if is being carried, so we know that the weapon is being carried. And then we also want to add an extra check in here just in case. So we could say if the target does not equal no one, so we know that we do have a target, then our x position is equal to our target.x, and our y position is equal to our target.y. Now let me run the game. I'm not sure if we're going to have any errors here. We might, as we haven't finished everything, but I should be able to come back here and press E. And you can see that we have the weapon here. However, if I press E on something else, we're not going to have anything happen unless the pixel perfect collision kicks out. So actually, let's close the game and let's finish this off. So right now we can pick up a weapon, but we can't really pick up other weapons. So in the character object, right here we don't have a weapon, so we need another case to say we do have a weapon. So we'll just add a comment in here. We'll say we are holding a weapon. So what we need to do here is we need to do a for loop, because this list may have one or more items in it, and it may be already the item that is in our list. So we could say for var index equals 0, and the index is less than the pickup count. Then the index variable will just add 1 to it each time. So we're going to loop through all of the items within our list here. So what we need to do is make sure that we're not going to try and pick up a weapon that we already have in our hands. So to do this, what we could say is we could say if the pickup list at the specific index, so if this specific one does not equal the current weapon that we are holding, then we know that this is a new weapon and we are able to pick it up. So what we first have to do is drop the original weapon. So we could say the weapon.target equals no one, and then the weapon.is being carried equals false. Now we have to pick up the new weapon. And that's as simple as, let's actually just copy this code here. And because we know that the target is going to be our carrier, or sorry, not our carrier, our character, and our weapon is being carried, all we have to do is assign the weapon placeholder. And instead of using the first item, we're going to use whatever is that in the index item. And then we don't have to continue going through our for loop. So once we find a weapon that we are able to pick up, we're just going to break out of this for loop. So let's hit F5 and try again, and let's go and pick up this AK. And let's come over here and let's try and pick up, I believe, this kind of shotgun here. And you can see that now we have the shotgun in our hands, and we can pick up that guy, and so forth and so forth. So you can see that this is pretty much done. The only thing I would probably do in the weapon here in the begin step is I would probably change the image angle just so that we could rotate the gun. So in here we could say if is being carried, so we know that we are currently carrying the the weapon. We could say image angle equals the point direction of whatever our X and Y position is based off our mouse position, mouse X and mouse Y. So if I hit F5 one last time, I should be able to walk around, pick up these weapons, and rotate them depending on where my mouse is. And if I put this item down, you can see that only the AK will rotate, and only the M4 or whatever will rotate as well. I have another gun down here. So you can see, I just want to show you the room, but you can see that everything is pretty much all done. So you can just go ahead, as long as any item is an object weapon. You can see there's no code besides the inherited steps in here. So if I were to, let's say, duplicate one of these, and I'll just say the weapon is a weapon P, and let's give it a sprite of our actual character. Let's see, do I have... so he might be animated, but that's fine. We'll go into our room, we'll throw down that character, and because he is a child of that object weapon, I should be able to come over here, and you can see I can pick myself up. So it's a nice little system here, and it works out pretty good, and hopefully you've learned a thing or two, and yeah, we will see you in the next video. Thank you so much for watching. A huge shout out to my Patreon supporters such as Victor, Jean, Wayne, and Paul. Thank you so much for your generous support, and I can't wait to get the next video out. Thanks for watching.